Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 98. Wow. I mean, really, I've been saying this for the last few episodes, but I really am quite surprised that we're at episode 98. So there's a ton of great stuff for you to be able to go back and watch. So please do. And if you love it, put some comments on it and share it with everyone else that you know as well. And remember, you can go to hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. You can see it below here. And Kerry is spelled Kerry. So go on to the website there. I've also got my book, How to Get Out of Overwhelm and Accelerate Your Results Now. So please do download that. And also what you'll do is you will get updates on episodes that I might do from time to time. So if you've been an avid watcher of my Hangouts, you know I'm going to episode 100. And then that will stop my regular scheduled Hangouts every Monday mornings. And then basically what I'll do is as I get inspired, as I working with a client to think, oh, this is something that we really need to be dealing with on a Hangout, then what I will do is I will record it and then I will send that out. So make sure you get those the emails from me so you know what's upcoming. Well, today I am really excited because our topic today is get clear, stay focused, stop procrastinating, and reach that six-figure goal for your business. And I have expert Karen Lanou here on the line. Hey, Karen.
Hi, Kerry. Good to see you.
I am so thrilled to be able to have this episode as one of my last ones because I'd like to say maybe we've saved one of the best for last. And in my 18, well, almost 19 years now of coaching a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of female entrepreneurs, that six-figure mark seems to just be elusive to them. They have some success, they can get things, they've got good amount of business, whether it's customers or clients, whatever their model is, but they just don't seem to break that six-figure mark. So I hope today we're going to be able to give them some tools to help them do that, because as you know, I'm a practical, down-to-earth kind of coach. I want people to have practical strategies, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to give those to them today. Well, I know we will. Now it'll be up to them to actually put it into action.
Sure.
So for everyone here, what I want to do is just share with you a little bit about Karen and what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing is how to get clear on what's important in your business. So we're going to be addressing that. We're going to be talking about how to actually stay focused on what is important and, really stop procrastinating and having those distractions that kind of come along in every single day, week, month, year in our business. And then how to actually stay out of that, but what Karen likes to call it, the bizarro world. And I'm really curious about what that is. But let me tell you a little bit about Karen and why I'm really excited to have her on this particular webinar or this particular Hangout. I had met Karen, I think it's got to be now at least 6-7 years ago. Would that be about right?
Probably about that. Yep.
Yeah, maybe even a little more than that. And I was really impressed. And because one of the things is she was a pioneer in the podcasting world. And she really came on to the podcasting scene with a storm. Podcasting really started about 2006, and she was right there. And she has an amazing show. In fact, Karen, what did you say? What are your stats here? You're the top 10 self-help on iTunes since then. 20 million downloads. Wow, yeah. in this time, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's mind-blowing to me. Yeah.
Well, obviously you have content that people want, and so I'm really thrilled that you're going to be able to share that with my audience today and give them that wisdom and inspire them to go and listen to some more of your podcasts as well. So Karen, why don't you tell people a little bit more about your background and how you came to this work and who you tend to work with most of the time?
Sure. Thanks, Kerry. Yeah. So as you mentioned, my claim to fame is my podcast. It's the Law of Attraction Tips. It's been on iTunes since 2006. It's been downloaded over 20 million times, and I've been in the top 10 in one form or the other in self-help since 2006, which is nuts. But anyways, what that's allowed me to do is connect with people all over the world, and so who I've ended up working with mostly are executive women and entrepreneurial women. So the high achievers, people who are just sort of gung-ho, want to go and just want to move forward in their life and take some big leaps and bounds. So while my base of what I do is law of attraction, I call myself a strategic mindset coach, or business coach, just because that's who I end up working with. And that's really my background and my passion as well. And so, yeah, again, it's allowed me to work with amazing people all over the world, even with somebody in the executive in the executive office of the White House, of the president's office, and movie stars, film stars, all just kind of all kinds of amazing people. So, and so that's what I've been able to do.
Very interesting. Well, then hopefully that for those of us who just have what I would call more normal, average lives, we'll get this kind of information and be able to say, well, we have the same secrets that they do as well.
Absolutely. Well, it applies to everybody, right? So, but everybody's, of course, everybody's different, but the basics of how you move forward, and again, those simple strategies to moving forward works for everybody.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So, we told people that one of the first things they need to do, they need to get clear. So why don't we just, start right there? So what do people need to get clear on? I think maybe is the question. And then how do they do that?
Sure. Well, so the reason I like to talk about this specifically is when I listen to business women, and again, people who are again wanting to move forward, the things that stop them are clarity, focus, and procrastination. And so what do they need to get clear on? It's actually, what do they want, right? And so as you're moving along in your business and or your career, it's like there's a point where you kind of stop and go, what is this all about? And, how did I get here, and how do I actually move forward, and how do I get clear about that? Because we're busy people, right? And if you have a family, and just a regular, everyday life, it's busy, right? So you start getting pulled in all kinds of different directions. And what ends up happening also is that we tend to get pulled along a path. And so, and again, like I say, there's a point where we kind of go, what am I doing here? So how I actually ask my clients to start is to start looking at, what don't you want? So what do you not want in your life? And because when you ask somebody, what do you want? I don't know if you found this, Kerry, but I found kind of 9 times out of 10, when you ask somebody what they want, they start with what they don't want. And
it's much easier from a clarity standpoint, I think, to actually ask that question. And I ask it just in a different way, but exactly the same thing. Is that people are clear, I don't want any more of that.
Yeah.
I know what I want, but I don't want any more of that. So
right.
Absolutely, that's a perfect place to start.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I start is, so what do you not want in your life, in your business right now? And start with let's just get it out of the way. And then you move on to, what do I want? So once you kind of sit down and identify all the things that you don't want. So it could be, I don't want to work with people who are having problems paying. I don't want to work with people who are difficult. I don't want to work with people who who don't take action, those kinds of things, right? However it is, again, I just want things to be easy, right? So when you start to look at those particular items of what I don't want or what you don't want, then it's just starting to flip that and say, okay, now what do I want? Because until you kind of get rid of that energy about what I don't want, it still stays stuck. It's like it needs attention. And so until you give it attention and you write it down and say, okay, we've dealt with that. Now focus on what you do want. So it's just starting to go to that point of, what do I want? And I'm just, I'm just thinking about, from there, what's next is what I call creating a blank slate. And do you remember the old Etch-a-Sketches where you would, you draw on them with the little knobs, and then you create a little picture, and then it's like, okay, I want to create something new. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're creating something new. So it's like you shake the Etch-a-Sketch. Excuse me. And you shake the Etch-a-Sketch, and then you start creating again. And that's where we want to go to, is starting to create a new, like a blank slate. So when you start to say, okay, I don't want this, I do want this, and now what do I really want? What's that big picture? How do I and how do I actually get there? And how do I create that clarity? And it's really starting from a blank slate, which is asking, what is it? What's next for me? What else is possible here? And so when you start to do that, and start to set that intention of saying, okay, I'm done with all this old stuff. I'm done with all these old stories. That's how you start to create that clarity.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
And obviously that creates some momentum. And so sometimes what happens is when we're clear what we want, a whole bunch of stuff starts coming at us. And so how do we stay focused? I mean, that's the second thing we promised everyone today, is how to actually stay focused. Because for most people who are entrepreneurial or even, in a corporate environment, there's so many people, pulling their demands, so many ideas, so many opportunities. So how do you teach people actually how to stay focused on the path that they've decided they want to go down?
Well, so how I do this is by setting our GPS, right? So when we set our GPS, just like when you do it in your car, you're saying, okay, this is where I want to go, right? And you don't know how you're going to get there. And the point is actually not to know how you're going to get there, which is probably counterintuitive in the way a lot of people work. But to me, it's just like, okay, I'm just setting my GPS. And so in this, I call it quest formations. So we all know about affirmations, and affirmation is just a positive statement about something you'd like to have or create in your life. Well, to me, a quest formation is an affirmation in the form of a question. And when we start to do this, what we're doing is we're actually setting up our subconscious mind to work in an entirely different way. And so it's actually always starting to scan the environment, because that's what it's doing anyways, based on what our focus is. And so when we do a quest formation and say, for instance, quest formation, it could be, why was it so easy to get 5 new clients this week? Let's just say that. So why was it so easy to get 5 new clients this week? And so all of a sudden your brain kind of starts going, why was it so easy? And it's setting up what I call a reality incongruence. So there's this part where it's saying, oh, it's like it's already done. She's saying it's already done. And then your brain's starting, but we're here. Your brain's saying, okay, but we're here. Well, how did we get from here to there? Right? How did that happen? And so it starts starting to scan the environment. It's like, well, what were the opportunities? What happened? What's next? How do we do this? And so it starts looking for all this information about how it happened or how it could happen. And all of a sudden, bing, again, you have all this information available to you instead of trying to figure it out. And so and what happens is I see people take quantum leaps when they do this process. So just by saying, and to me, the quest formation process is a 2-step process. And so you would ask 2 questions, and one's more rhetorical than the other. But so the first question is, why was it so easy to get all these clients? And how great is it that I have all these clients? And when you do that, when you actually do the second question, which is how great is it, what ends up happening is that you put yourself in that energy. Again, for me, it always comes back to the whole basics of law of attraction, which is like energy attracts like energy. So if we're in that energy of, wow, how did this happen? How great is it that it's here? They have all these clients. Then you're in that space that you're actually very, very attractive to it. Plus, what it does is it puts you in that feeling that it is happening, which means then you're more likely to take action. You're more likely to stay focused on it, and actually just propels you forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, as that old adage is, nothing succeeds like success, and now we know it's really the law of attraction that's going on behind it, isn't it? Or underneath it, because you're having success. You've got that positive energy. You have an expectation that things are going to go that same way. So of course you're sending out that, so you're going to be attracting more of it.
Right.
I love that term, quest formations. Is that right? Quest. Yeah. That's great. I'm going to remember that one. That's really good, because it really is asking the question around, what's so great about this? Very, very good. Yes. Lovely. Yes. So then, what happens is we are attracting more of that. We're asking those kinds of questions, so we're likely to be more focused, but there's still going to be distractions, and procrastination still shows up. So how do you recommend to your clients that they deal with that and still stay focused on what it is, what that intention is, keep that positive energy? Because from time to time, some negative stuff's going to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so first of all, it's trying to understand what procrastination and distraction are. So distraction is what I find is that when people are about to make that big next step forward, or they're starting to actually make that step out of their regular everyday life or business into something new, our subconscious mind, one of its jobs to do is to keep us safe. It has lots of jobs, but that's one of them, is to keep us safe. And so it doesn't, it's not logical about this. All it knows is that the status quo as things are right now is safe, right? And so when we start to take those steps forward, it starts to create all these distractions, and and they are real, like they're real distractions. And we'll find that all of a sudden we might not be feeling so well, or our dog gets sick, or some kind of appliance breaks down, or it's like cars break down. I've seen everything, and it's like, well, how can my subconscious create that? Well, it's not so much that I don't know how that works, and I'm not going to even get into that, because I think again, there's an energy thing there, but that's too far off on that. But what ends up happening is that your subconscious mind makes this the biggest deal. It makes it a big deal, and something that we need to focus on. When in fact, what our subconscious mind is doing, is taking our focus off where we're going and the direction that we're going and the new things that we're trying out. And so all of a sudden it'll start making a big deal out of all this other stuff that's going around us. I mean, it's life, right? Things are going to happen. And so our job to do is just to understand, oh, I'm just getting distracted here because I'm about to take a really that big next step. And so this is really important to stay on track with and move forward. So when you can see distraction for what it is, all of a sudden you can say, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And sometimes it's even just baby steps, right? It's like, okay, no, today I'm going to do this thing. My mom, she broke her hip years ago. And it was just, for me, because my dad had passed away. So, and I was the only one around. It's like, I had to look after her, right? I have to be there for her. But I was running a business as well, right? And it was just on the process of taking that growth spurt forward, and I got distracted, And when I go look back on this, it's like, my job to do at that point was to do everything I could to be there for my mom, but I could have still been taking those steps forward, right? And so big lessons. And I see this with my clients all the time. You need to still take those steps forward, just little baby steps. So when you can identify it for what it is, it's like, oh yeah, I'm about to break through. There's that distraction. Okay, great. Got to keep going, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then procrastination. There's a couple things that I think about procrastination. Sometimes procrastination isn't really procrastination. It really is just that you're waiting for new information, or there's some things that have to fall into place, right? And for the people that I work with who are real high achievers, when there's any kind of downtime, they're just like, they panic. And it's like, oh, I must be procrastinating. And it's like, well, maybe, but maybe not, right? So it's looking at why actually are you not taking action? Is it because you're waiting on something, or is there some fear involved here? And so I find that a lot of people procrastinate because they are fearful also. So if it's not that you're just waiting on something, the next thing is that they're fearful about something. It could be success, could be failure. And we're our harshest critics ourselves, right? So sometimes what we'll do is we will do everything in our power subconsciously. Again, this is a very a very different level that I work on with my clients, to actually clear out that energy of that fear, but also us being hard on ourselves as well. So it's just understanding that we're actually, the reason we're stopping ourselves is because of ourselves, because we're actually a little afraid of ourselves and how much we will beat up on ourselves. And so when we can start to realize that, I need to keep taking those steps forward, regardless, and be easy on myself, and just continue to be easy on myself, so I'm not beating myself up, but again, still taking those steps forward. That's really, really important. So it's just really understanding, about distraction, just being, that's just, we're about to make that breakthrough. And procrastination is either based on, I'm needing just a little bit more time or information, or I'm fearful about something. And usually I'm mostly fearful about what I'm going to do to myself. So
yeah. So what I'm hearing is that there's, really at either of those 2 points, whether it's a distraction or procrastination, it's really about asking inquiring questions of yourself.
Yes.
And kind of challenging yourself. So if it's about a distraction, so if it's about a distraction, often what I hear, because as you know, I deal with, clients all the time like you do, and I'll hear this justification. I'll hear this rationale that they've come up with. And, sometimes the best thing we can do as coaches is to challenge them on that rationale.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's really talk about what it is that you're saying to yourself, because what happens is we actually believe what we're telling ourselves. Oh, this is really what we need to be focusing on at the time, and justify it, when really what it is just a distraction that we, because we're going to be taking that next step. And then, and as you even said, even the same thing with procrastination is really asking those inquiring questions. Okay, what is there fear going on here, and what would that fear really be about? So great. I loved how you drew the distinction between distractions and procrastination, because too often people lump them together, and by separating them out, we can really then start unpacking what it is that's going on when those things happen. So really great. Yeah.
Well, and so then the last thing I do, I have my clients do, is just ask a question. So ask, what would it take to move this along, or what would it take to take that next step? And just asking the question. And when you ask the question, and it's not something I want you to answer, right? So that, again, for the people that I work with, is really hard to step back, because, again, like you and I, Kerry, we both work with people who are really smart and who are just, forward. They want to go, right? They want to move forward in their business and their life. And how they've gotten to where they've gotten is by figuring things out. Right. And so what I ask them to do is, and what I ask people to do is just to ask the question, but not figure it out. What I want you to do is just ask, and then carry on with whatever you're doing, carry on with your, with whatever task is in front of you, or just go do something entirely different, but don't start to answer the question. Reason being is that when we're answering the question ourselves, all we're doing is we're accessing what we already know. And if we actually knew the answers, or had all the information at hand, or could Google it, whatever it is, we'd be way further ahead than we already are, right? So because we kind of get stuck in a paradigm, and we come to conclusions about some particular things in our business, and it's hard for us actually to move out of that without specific steps to do that, to move out of that paradigm. But when you start to ask questions like, again, what would it take to move forward in my business? What would it take to take action on this? What would it take to grow my business? And then just ask the question, go do something else. And then what I'd be asking you to do is just pay attention to what bubbles up. What all of a sudden, what kind of new ideas are starting to pop into your head? And there's a difference between you kind of figuring things out and inspiration coming in. And I have to tell you, when inspiration comes in, you're tapping into infinite intelligence at that point, right? And that's, again, where people make quantum leaps. That's where all our most powerful inventors, they would take times, they would mull this question over and over in their head. They'd go and do something else, and all of a sudden, bang, there comes the answer.
It's like they say, you're in the shower and the light bulb goes on, right? Because
yes.
So it's
Yes, I have my best ideas come in the shower, and when I'm sitting down at the beach in my car, and I call that bubble time. Yeah. And when you create that bubble time where you can just ask a question, but then, just float off, then amazing things happen. And so that's how you break through all of this stuff.
Yeah. So I see a parallel. I've said to my clients often, we are where we are at the level in our business with the level of thinking, knowledge, and experience we have.
Yes.
And we're not going to be able to grow to that next level. That we can't access that because we're stuck at that level of knowledge, level of experience that we have. Yes. So what you're saying is, by asking the question and then not trying to figure it out, which of course we really want to, don't we? Yes. Our mind really wants to get to the answers. Like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And just let the question just sit. Yes. And then go do about our day, but be aware of when those answers come. I really like that tip. I think that's a great strategy.
Yeah. It's amazing how it works, because when you do just allow yourself to have that inspiration come in, your best ideas, the best things that will move you forward in a different way than you're used to working, they'll just pop up.
Yeah. Great. Great. Yep. Perfect. And then, so tell me about this Bizarro World piece. I mean, I know we all live in our own reality of whatever it happens to be, but tell me what your definition of the Bizarro World is, and, you know, how to actually get ourselves, you know, unstuck from it if we're in it. Floor is yours.
Sure. So to me, there's the ideal world that we want to be continue our focus in, right? And then there's a bizarro world, and so the bizarro world is really it's the opposite. And how I came up with this, or what made me think about this, because I'm an avid Seinfeld fan, and I remember Elaine when she would be hanging out with Bizarro Jerry Kramer and George, which was Kevin, Phil, and somebody, I think. Anyways, I can't remember their names, but the bizarre world is really, it's just the opposite of the regular world, right? Or our ideal world. So often I hear people go, wow, you know, I've taken all these steps and here I am again. I keep creating the things that I don't want. They keep showing up. And so that's our bizarre world. And what ends up happening is that, again, wherever our focus is, wherever our energy is, however we're feeling about something, that's what we tend to recreate in our world over and over and over again. So most of us, or a lot of us, without being really aware of our focus, we keep coming back to the bizarre world and focusing on what we don't want. So we worry about the bills. We worry about where our next client's going to come from. We worry about how our business is going to grow. And when we are in worry, we're actually living in the bizarro world. And so our job to do in that moment is to stop and pivot and pivot away from what we don't want, which is, again, is the bizarro world, and pivot away from that and change our focus to our ideal world, which is just asking, okay, what do I want? Well, I want to have, you know, new clients. I want my business to grow 20%. And start our focus on that. And then the most important thing to do at this point is actually to feel what it would feel like when this happens. So if your business grew, you know, 20% this year or this month, what would that feel like? What would that mean to your business? What would that mean to your life and to your family? What would it mean to you to have, you know, 5 more clients this week? Whatever it is, what would it mean to, I know the list could go on, but the important thing is actually to get into that feeling space. Again, the reason is not only just kind of esoteric, that like energy attracts like energy, you know, that's certainly very important. But the fact is it also allows you to get into that state of, oh yeah, this is possible. And you just get excited about it, and you're far more likely to take action. And of course, we know that when we're likely to take action, things start to happen. Also, what we do is we put ourselves in a state of being able actually to see and to see those possibilities and see those opportunities. And when we can see opportunities, that just means more money in our pockets, really, as we take action on it. But when we're living in the bizarre world, we tend to contract, and we tend to kind of go, oh, I'm just worried about this, and we don't take action, and we just get scared, or we take action that's not great actions, right? So, or we tend to do a lot of the same things over and over again without changing the way we're interacting with the world. And we know when somebody is just contracted and scared or, you know, just anxious, we probably don't want to do business with them. So, our job constantly is to keep moving into the focusing on the ideal world and getting out of the bizarre world.
Yeah. So a lot of this is really having people, you know, at an elevated level of awareness self-awareness about what's going on for themselves. So in that moment, you know, when we're in and we're constricted and everything else, is to actually be asking ourselves questions that have us realize, oh, this is why I'm attracting this. You know, I've heard it so many times. I don't know why. I get blah, 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 blah. And, you know, and you and I both know, well, we know why. Because that's the question you're asking. You know, there's a quality of the questions we ask ourselves that get us the results that we want.
Absolutely.
So, you know, what would it look like to ask a bunch of different questions? Probably get a bunch of different results as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And do you find this is where sometimes, you know, sabotage sets in as well, that people will self-sabotage, and not even consciously, when they're stuck on what they don't want?
Oh yeah, because it is so powerful, right? It's such a powerful feeling. And when we're scared, right? We just go into that lockdown mode. So yeah, self-sabotage comes in totally because again, we're not taking viable actions, right?
Yeah.
And or we're just not in that state that is conducive to attracting other people into our lives that can help us, right? And even when people do want to help us, we, again, we just can't even see it, and you're right, we sabotage ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we have covered off so much in such a short period of time. Thank you so much. And I know the audience is going to want to know how to get a hold of you and find out more about what you have to do. So please, Karen, share with them how they can get a hold of you, and fire away.
Sure. Well, so my website is called attractmorenow.com. And so you go there, and at any given time, I'm always putting on a webinar. And so right now, I am at this moment, I'm doing a fuller webinar on this whole process on getting clear, getting focused, and stopping procrastination. So I would invite you to come over. And so even as I know this is evergreen, it's going to be up for a while. Kerry's going to have this around. So even if that webinar is not up, there'll be something else that I'm going to be a great video that's going to be really useful to you in your business. So please come and check that out. I'm also going to have a website or a page up for you in probably by the end of the day today. And it would be attractmorenow.com/gift 2016. So gift 2016. And that will give you access to, I'll send you a link to all my podcasts. So I know it's all about law of attraction. That's a little bit different than what we're talking about a little bit.
Not much, actually.
And you'll have access to over 60 podcasts of mine. Plus, I will, the other thing that I'm going to be offering to you is so access to a webinar also, but a strategy session, a breakthrough session with me. So a get clear, get focused, breakthrough strategy session. It's hard to say.
Wow, that's amazing. So I really hope you as the audience take advantage of that, because that's going to be evergreen, right? Just whenever they want to go on and get it, they can get it. So perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes. So that, again, it's attractmorenow.com/gift 2016.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. Well, Karen, I really, really appreciate you being on, that we were able to get this connected for us to be able to do this episode. I really, really appreciate it. And maybe in the future we'll have had a conversation. Maybe there's something else we can come back on and do, just a one-off session. I would really, really like that, because
that would be awesome.
Because I know there's a lot of the how-tos, and a lot of people focus on what actually actions they need to be taking, where to go marketing, where to go networking, and all that kind of stuff. But if they don't have this stuff, isn't being taken care of, they're not going to be attracting people. They're going to be repelling them. There's a whole bunch of this stuff that they need to get clear on. So I'm really glad that we had an opportunity to have this episode. So again, everybody, remember, hang out with CoachKerry.com. You can watch this episode over and over and over again. You can download it. You can watch it, and please do make your comments there. And please go to Karen's website so that you can get that free gift, because I highly recommend it. I think I just might go and do that as myself as well.
Absolutely.
You never know. I'm a continuous learner. I'm forever taking new things and learning new things. So anyway, Karen, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I will look forward to hearing the comments from people who have watched this episode and the information I got from that.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen.
So you are really welcome. So everyone, have an inspired week. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.